Now, we, of course, are playing in a best of 3 here, so we need to find 3 maps for these 2 teams to face off on. First map to be picked is going to be chosen there by Bleed, and they are going to opt for a cafe.
Wow, bit of cafe coming in right from the get-go. So this is a matchup that we had previously seen during the group stages of Invite, where it was Bleed actually getting the upper hand over Liquid. So currently, with both of these organizations meeting, it is 1-0 to Bleed as it stands. This is kind of the rematch that Liquid, I'm sure, would love to have. And look, it's a massive game, a lot on the line. Loser goes home, winner straight onto your main stage. Chalet, always, I think, a very strong map for Liquid. Always has been over the course of that team's history inside of Siege. And we have Oregon to finish things off as well. So really, apart from, I would say, probably the Cafe matchup, I think everything else you can kind of expect.
Yeah, Cafe's one that we've seen Bleed play on fairly recently. We saw them play on that against M80, so I'm not really too surprised to see a familiar map coming in. You tend to get teams that want to stick to a couple of maps throughout the course of a group stage and then maybe save a little bit for later on.
Yeah, just looking at how both of these teams ended up here, Ollie. Both of them, of course, coming in through Phase 1. So they are the 2 sides that have played the most Siege that we've had at the competition. You know, by none, I think Bleed obviously has had to play more because they had to go through an extra game in Phase 1 where Liquid just got the 2 wins and straight into Phase 2. So yeah, both of them have played a lot of Siege. Liquid obviously coming from the 0-2 category, whereas Bleed have came from the 2-0 category. And do not forget, this is the same thing that happened to Bleed at the last major, where they were 2-0 up and just could not get it across the line to get that 3rd win.
I love how we started the day, well, not the day, but we started the whole event casting these 2 teams. I love how they fought their way through Phase 1 into the last day now of Phase 2, and one of them is going to go through. That's the exciting thing for me now. So, what are we looking at here? We have a Deimos ban and a Monty ban. Wouldn't be the Manchester Major without a Shield ban, surely. Monty has been incredibly powerful, and it is not something that Liquid want to leave open here. Solace also going to get removed. I imagine it's going to be a Fenrir or something of that nature that comes in as the final removal here, the final ban. Fenrir is, of course, a nightmare to play against, but it is going to be the Azami. Oftentimes, when we do get onto Cafe, Azami gets targeted a little bit more, mainly because of Piano and the angles that you can create inside of that room. Azami on that top floor can be devastating. Not to say that teams are going to defend the top floor as a site, but they will occupy that space whilst defending other areas of the map.
Yeah, Azami's the same ban that Bleed went for whenever they played against M80. Keep in mind they did lose Cafe against M80 whenever they played against each other. Obviously for Liquid in terms of Cafe, you know, they've left it open. They know that Bleed are a team that don't mind going to Cafe and they will play that. So I think for Liquid, you know, you would expect they've done their homework. I think they would have studied that match specifically whenever they did go up against M80. I would say Liquid are going to be ready for what Bleed have to throw at them here.
Well, they should be. They really should be. It's a map that they've left open. Obviously, you've got a lot of banning potential inside of a best of 3 series. So the fact that it has remained open, Liquid are at least expecting it to be played. It just depends on in which order. Let's kick off with round number 1 then. We're actually headed straight down into Kitchen for this site. As we've already mentioned, the top floor of Cafe can be a very turbulent bomb site to defend into. And sometimes Kitchen is a little bit more preferable.
See that BP from Turd, almost using it like it's a kind of Valkyrie camera, you know, where it's just kind of tucked in to a corner. Again, bulletproof doesn't just have to be in the wall, you can place it on the floor as well. So and the visibility is good.
Yeah,
you still get that.
You still get the visibility. Yeah. It isn't that it just sits there and stares at the ceiling. One of the advantages, and something that I'm wondering if the reason for that being played there is maybe to disable a ram gadget, maybe to disable a boogie as it runs through.
Well, looking at the lineup from Liquid, it is very heavy in the kind of vertical lineup, isn't it? You know, you've got not just the ram, like you mentioned, but also the buck as well, which is always your kind of backup. And Oven, almost has the swing, will disable the drone. But again, still, nobody wanting to move from Liquid. They just want to try and get the initial kind of mid-floor control before they start going gung-ho. I think Liquid, again, have shown that they can be a very passive team, unless I always feel that you know, Ness sees the stars align. I think Ness has been the big playmaker for Liquid throughout this entire event. He's been the one who's just appeared out of nowhere, like Jack the Ripper in the fog, and just slices everyone. But at the moment for Liquid, it is very passive, it is very slow and seldom, but they just want to make sure that they can get into the building. That's always the tough thing about Cafe, is trying to get into the building.
Well, they've done that, haven't they? It's halfway through the round. They've spent this time getting into the building and trying to get established. See, the bulletproof does get destroyed there. Maya, you can start to try and rip open some of this floor and give us a bit more of an idea as to where this Liquid push is going to end up. Is it going to be a bakery push? Is it going to be a white and VIP push? At the moment, all options are being opened, and resets can now start to move in and places boogie drones down and start to further rip open some of that flooring. You will get a little bit of the train room as well. It's a great way to get a lot of value out of that single boogie, and it certainly saves a lot of shots in the skeleton key. It just means that you can really open quite a lot of angles here to work with.
The issue that they have is they've wasted all this time trying to get into the building, and yes, they have got their mid-floor control. They've opened up their vertical lines, but there are still positions now that Bleed can fall back into outside of those vertical holes. They can play in towards VIP, can play in towards restaurant, bakery as well. Those are all options for them, and Liquid, they haven't done anything to actually clear those positions out. They still do have a Grim that they can utilize, who we know is an extremely strong operator for pushing players who are somewhat annoying in the positions they can play in. For example, Midless right here inside of bakery, but he is going to take the off-angle position, but what a swing from Hoven, gets the upper hand. Here comes Mentalist, one lines up for him, a quick refry from Lagonis, but because they eliminated the man on the small bakery window, it allows Hoven just to swing for all he's worth, and Maya all by himself, no hope. Bleed hold firm.
It's a great example there of a situation. You can get control of the map, you can make vert, but if there's no one there to catch these players as they're rotating, they didn't have wedding window open, they didn't have bakery double open, they didn't have the bottom of white open, they didn't have VIP window open. It took so many resources from Liquid to gain mid-floor control, open up the vert, and Bleed just go, well, we're just going to hide in corners that you can't get us at. And we're happy to wait. The wall was left soft inside a freezer, which means that you have to take VIP, because then dropping the hatch just becomes a suicide mission. You're dropping into somebody's lap, essentially.
Great heads-up play from Hoven that you have to give credit to. I mean, probably realizing, hey, they don't have like a gridlock or nomad to stop me doing that. Usually you would see one of those operators being brought just to lock down that small bakery. It's, you know, it's a big high-access kind of avenue for both attackers and defenders just to lock down some of those corridors and swing in towards bakery. So, yeah, Liquid, I think just too slow. That was the main gist of it. They just didn't have enough time to do everything that they wanted.
Well, we didn't really see them take a gunfight. They were just sort of reacting in the moment. They were getting swung, and there was no situation where they'd use drones to locate someone and tried to give themselves an advantage and take a gunfight. It was literally just the gunfights were happening to them, and then they had to react. We'll see how they get on here in round number 2. Do wonder, Demo, we've seen the Deimos ban come in. Now, we've watched Liquid a couple of times now. Palu loves the Deimos, as do a lot of players on other teams, but they really use it to good effect, getting some sort of vertical angles going with that Deimos. Without that being available, you do just wonder, are Liquid being pinched a little bit? Now, I know that Deimos is a new operator, so they've played more without him than he has been available, but it did seem to slow him down there in sort of trying to isolate any sort of players.
Still think, though, for Apollo, you know, he has access to an operator there like Nomad. Probably,
yeah.
You know, one of Nomad's best map that you can probably think of, can lock down, of course, the run-outs and the jump-outs, and just a lot of the corridors, the way that Cafe's kind of, you know, laid out with the 2 sets of stairs, kind of into kind of winding corridors all throughout the map. You know, just very, very strong for locking down a few doorways that are, you know, key, and it really just stops the retake potential, I think, for the defenders, because Cafe at times can be very claustrophobic, I feel, for the defenders. You know, as soon as people start getting in those windows and walls get opened up, there ain't really a lot of safe positions you can actually sit into, and then you almost need to try and get a little bit active, but if the Nomad's there, you can't really do that.
Yeah, a little bit of a replay here.
Mirror jump out.
Exactly what happened. Using the C4 for a run out, it's a pricey maneuver, and you've got to make sure it pulls off. I'm not entirely sure what Asfi was doing there. Just kind of sent himself out of the window. Maybe a little bit of confidence here starting to brim over from Bleed. Recognizing, hey, look, we've taken down your Capital. We've got a reasonable advantage at the moment. If Asfi can send himself out and pick up one, then it's a worthwhile endeavor. And again, Liquid don't look too interested in... Look how bunched up they are here, Demo. We've got 3 players in and around this red stair area. We're just going to single-handedly walk down red there, you're going to be getting yourself into a choke point.
Well, I think the way that Bleed want to play this is honestly just try and retake. That's going to be their idea. It's to almost let them push into the site, but you know that you can then retake from these different positions. A great swing from Mentalist eliminates Lagonis. Polo, though, on a backstab, pushes down Reading Corridor now. He doesn't see anyone. Diffuser is going to be called inside a train. Reset scans, but he doesn't know that Mentalist is tucked tight in behind that piece of machinery. Polu, a flashbang gets tossed in. Oh, Mentalist, the UMP! A phenomenal free K.
That was very reminiscent of a North American in a very similar position. Canadian, to be precise.
Gio! Sorry.
The worst gun in the game.
Sorry. What was that thing who's banned anyway? I just call it a piece of machine. Is it a wheel? What is it?
Wheel room?
Is it it's not a wheel.
Well, it is a big wheel, isn't
it?
It is a big wheel.
Don't even know what to call it, but he got kill shot.
Liquid are just
too slow.
They look like they're still at the hotel.
Way too slow.
They look asleep at the wheel right now. Now, it's the first couple of rounds of a best of 3. And we've seen Bleed take early advantages before and then struggle to convert later on in the match. So it's nothing to get too alarmed about if you're a Liquid fan, which, judging by the social vote, more than half of you are. However, they do need to come away with an attack here out of this first phase. And the longer this goes on for, the more the confidence is starting to swell on the side of Bleed.
Yeah, and Bleed are a team which I've kind of dubbed as a team that refuses to lose. They don't know when they're beat. You know, this is the same team that me and Jack Witness get 14-0'd essentially, and they're still here. You know, that doesn't happen. So, yeah, it's one of those little teams that just, never take no for an answer. They are always saying, you know, we don't care, we are winning this. You can't do anything to stop it, we'll take that. And, you know, Bleed, look, obviously they've lost their 2 past games, but still close affairs. They really were.
Let's see if Liquid can start to try and bring some of this pace. There are still operators available to them. I'm very surprised we haven't seen a Ying yet, because Ying's available. It's one of the most picked operators, and it's fantastic on any map. It's good on Cafe. So I'm just at a bit of a loss, because it does seem like they're missing that big execute. And I know that Liquid aren't that classic execute team. They like to chip and stab away and get themselves in a position to get a plant down, but we haven't even really been seeing that. So it does sort of beg a little bit of a question of, you know, what Liquid do we have today? Is fatigue going to start to set in, given that they've played so many rounds so far here inside of Manchester, and the longer things don't go their way for, the more frustrating that is going to get. This time, at least, we've got the Doku beat being brought, and that can somewhat assist in clearing this roam game.
Oh, they're going to try and go for Reaps. Very fast take from Liquid. Straight down in for the red hatch. They have the Doku ready. There's going to be a red ping as well, assisting Reaps, so he does know that they're coming for him. And though, great clear up, and no, somehow gets out of there. Reaps stays alive. Oh, what's happened to TK? Reaps gets out of it and takes Hoven with him.
Unfortunately, that Hoven had a nice angle there, especially with the DMR. He could have ripped through. Reaps doesn't have a lot of health to speak of. He's going to try and occupy that space in Cocktail for as long as he can. Lagonis is going to be able to get revived there as well. Reaps trying to convert it through the wall, but this is surely got to be a Liquid round. We've seen much more pace from them here in round 3.
See if Turd and Mentalist can do anything, but it is very unlikely. Liquid have control of that top floor, and they can now start to work with that man advantage. We are dealing with the reading room, of course. You'd like to see some form of soft destruction upstairs, some vertical work being done as well. Just I think Maya can get in there and just check that nobody is going to be inside of reading. Then obviously you can rotate Lagonis over with the diffuser in hand and try and get that plant down. There are air cams that have to go free as well, though. Mental is still alive, so he can still control those drones and see if he can try and stop the plant. But again, Liquid still have tons of time to make this work. Turd has been holding this angle, honestly, for what, a good 40 seconds here, Ollie?
Yeah, he's not been giving that one up, and you know, maybe he just needs to find himself a kill here. He could get fortunate. The full white flash is going to come through, but he still manages to dome Lagonis. Liquid, for all that the advantage they had, they've been dreadfully slow. One of the reasons for that, they've not got any drones. Turd could be in the hot seat right now, picks up one, might grab himself a second, but no, Liquid, they trade out on the numbers, and they finally get one over the line.
Yeah, you can just see the numbers game there for Liquid, just sees it over the line. Really no worries there, I think, for Liquid. Yeah, Turd kills one, but then location immediately being revealed, and it's an easy cleanup there for Liquid. So, yeah, better round from Liquid. Bleed, unfortunate to see the TK come in. You wonder maybe if they can all get out of there, what would the outcome be? But look, it is what it is. He's killed his teammate. That's all you can really say. He has to pay the price because of it.
Even still, it came a little bit closer than it should have done. Liquid should have been much more dominant after that initial minute and a half of the round because of the powerful position they're in. At that point, with 1 minute 20 left on the clock, they should have been much quicker. One of the reasons that they weren't is the Mozzies. Liquid had 3 drones left in that final few seconds. They didn't have any information. Now, that's in part due to Bleed doing a fantastic job, also in part to Bleed bringing the Mozzie. I imagine the Mozzie is responsible for capturing one of those drones. If not, then the rest of them have done a good job of just shooting them out as they've seen them. But Liquid are starving themselves for info.
And it is surprising considering the operator that Liquid have banned to try and help them with those drones. You know, they banned Souls for that reason. And they're still struggling. Look, I probably would say it's also a target ban for something like Reaps as well, who on the Solus is so dangerous, but still, you know, you're killing 2 with 1 there, aren't you? You're taking away that Solus from Reaps and also helping you in the drone utility. I must say for Bleed, they've been very aggro, haven't they been on the defense? You know, I think Hoven especially, he has just taken every challenge he can onto a window, showing no fear whatsoever to Liquid. So last time Liquid were on this attack, they were just way, way too slow in terms of what they wanted to achieve. You just hope that they can do the drone work, because I would say 9 times out of 10, if you find just a Goyo sat in towards train, that should just be an easy kill.
Yeah, that's the thing. It really comes down to isolating these players. You can see that Liquid have lost 4 drones already, so not ideal. A chance there for Hoven. He knew what was coming there. Is that going to immediately be disabled? Near enough. It is going to get taken out there with an impact. Maya can start to come down. He can use that vert to see if he can get a peek, but his timing's just going to be a little bit off, unfortunately, for him. He can rip open above just the door to coat check there and give Asfi something to think about.
So better timing from Liquid. They're starting to work on the flooring. Oh, I speak way too soon. Down goes the buck. Missing out on a big chunk of that soft destruction now for Liquid. But look, they still have the backup. They still have the Ram drones who, again, doing a great job at just opening up those angles in towards Kitchen. But you still would like to have the buck for the other side, you know, trying to open up in towards the sinks, in towards Bunker, for example, as well. Oh, Nesk, has he seen an opening? But no, the Goo Mine will stop him, but he still finds a kill. What a shot from Nesk. Hoven off the board. Minute 10 left, 4v4.
Much better there from Liquid. This is more what we expect with that poking and prodding mentality. Just sending Nesk down brown stairs, seeing if you can find anything. Palu going to tank an FNAT there. Gets a great chance onto Asfi. Asfi just entirely unaware. I'm not sure if he knew that his FNAT had gone off or not. But Liquid in a much better position now. Maya is going to be looking at a shock drone right now for Palu as well. So you imagine that Palu is pretty safe in this position. That's a nice little wedding flank that they've got going on. And they can further start to gather this information. Turd, is he able to win the engagement? Scrappy from both sides. But Resets comes off a little bit worse.
As long as he still has control of VIP, they cannot drop in towards Freezer. So Ollie, they really need to get into gear here and eliminate that player. Here they go. Turd will expose himself, and now it's a 2v4. Better for Liquid.
Mentalist trying to make something happen there with the DMR, but it's extreme. It's going to be difficult for him. Resets. He finds one over onto Reaps. For Mentalist, it's only a matter of time. With 10 seconds, Lagonis is going to start getting that plant down. And Palu finishes him off. Liquid starting to find their mojo a little bit here on Cafe.
Great push from Palu down in towards Coat. You have to look at that as that's a really important kill to gain control of such a high-value area on the map. Because if you get control of Coat, you then have access to lock down, you know, VIP, lock down restaurant, because you can swing from coat check door. You also have a long angle in towards kitchen. You can lock down wedding. That's like a real central hub if an attacker can get into that. And then Liquid just play that man advantage so well. They see that Bleed are so segregated. They're so by themselves. No refrags whatsoever had came out during that round, which is really surprising for Bleed.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Leveled up at 2 rounds apiece then. Still neither team choosing to use a timeout. And the fact that Liquid have been able to gain a couple of rounds despite the slow start without using a timeout stands them in really good stead for later on in this map. And Bleed maybe got a little bit too overconfident there, found the first couple of rounds a little bit easier than they maybe should have been. And now need to sort of wake up as well. And get on that pace because Liquid moved a heck of a lot quicker in the previous 2 rounds, and I'm not expecting that to change anytime soon. They are going to go for a mid-floor site, but it isn't the mid-floor site of choice, Demo. Usually we end up in leading. This time, however, we end up in mining.
Well, a lot of teams have actually shied away from going top floor. It is the least played site currently.
I don't think we've seen
in
it.
the map. No, we haven't seen it.
it.
And I think a big reason for that is just the windows. So oppressive that you can have, you know, what, 3 sets of windows on each side of the building? You know, that is really difficult to go up against. So I just think teams are just trying to leave that for now and just try and focus on that kind of roam game extension that you can have with reading and mining. You can still hold upstairs, but you still don't have the safety of being able to retreat if players do start to go in those windows. So I think that's why a lot of teams are just preferring that over that top floor. But at the moment for Liquid, look, I think they've done a great job of getting these 2 rounds back because they were sleeping during the first 2. They really were. So all credit to them. And I feel as though the pace has quickened ever so slightly for Liquid as well.
Well, look at Maya's position in here with Resets. He's just going to start to rip open that wall and give Resets a little bit of a line of sight to try and gain an advantage from. Hobbin will be in the site, but the Lion Call coming in. Liquid, they're doing a very thorough clear here, Demo.
Flashbang. Trying to see if they can cover. Resets on for a second. Asfi does respond with another and turd now into the 3 versus 3, but look at that. The diffuser has been planted in the midst of it. Maya, great swing on the Asfi. Here comes Reaps, ready with the SMG in hand. He does have a yellow ping. He knows that somebody's going to be looking at him towards Pillar, but he loses the engagement. Lagonis is just better. Up comes Turd. But no, Liquid deny him the satisfaction of a clutch. Liquid, 3 ferocious rounds in a row.
Brilliant reset from Liquid there. And brilliant from Resets. I think Resets did a great job inside of that round. But equally, the way they've been able to navigate this fixture so far, they've sent Bleed onto that back foot, and Bleed look quiet. 1 more round left of this current side. So it isn't as if Julio is going to choose now to use that tactical timeout. Looks like he'll wait and use it on the attack if necessary. Maybe to try and stabilize a little bit. Obviously, Julio has got a heck of a lot of experience against playing against Liquid, the organization. Not necessarily Liquid, this team. It's been a while since Julio has been on the old mouse and keyboard.
Been a while. You know, Julio, if you don't know, former world champion with Ninjas in Pajamas. If you were to build a Mount Rushmore of Brazilian icons, he'd be there. He would, 100% he would be there. Who else, chat, let us know. Pick 4 Brazilian pros that would be on the Mount Rushmore of Brazilian Siege.
That is a debate waiting to happen, isn't it? I've got my 4.
Does your mate Nesk make it onto that? You said he was maybe past the hump.
I reckon he does, you know.
You think?
Yeah, I think he does.
Do I dare say Lamau gets on?
Ooh, I don't know.
An invite in a major, you can't argue with that.
We're talking, Mount Rushmore was all about the early presidents though, wasn't it? It was the early days.
Oh, Zig, get yourself warmed up, lad.
Speaking of Nesk, a little bit quiet so far, 2 and 3. Resets 6 and 2, really powering ahead. I was interested in watching Maya today because we saw Maya yesterday against Scars. He solo carried almost on Consulate. I think he ended up 15 and 8 or something along that line. I remember he got 15 kills. Can't remember exactly how many deaths he got, but it was an impressive scoreline nonetheless. He too, a little bit quiet at the moment, 1 and 4, but they're enabling. Lagonis is maybe the unsuspecting kill getter here, 4 and 3. He's been having a bit of a rough time this tournament in the old KD department, but everybody on the side of Liquid is certainly capable of putting up numbers, and we've seen that over the last 3 rounds. They finally started to wake up and adapt to the pace that's required here against Bleed. Now they're going to be attacking back down onto that basement. We're a 1-for-1 at the moment here. Bleed have been successful here once, and Liquid have also been successful. This time, again though, Liquid's pacing looks fantastic.
Yeah, it really does, and Bleed haven't really attempted to go for that kind of soft roam that they were doing previously. I think Bleed have just been really focused on trying to just deny with the C4s. Obviously, they have a triple C4 lineup, so they have been playing for the denial of the soft breachers, and it did work for them the last time they were down here. They were able to pick off a buck, but then they couldn't really get anything going after that. Asfi, what's he thinking of? He does have the Fenrir trap right above his head, and maybe give him an advantage in a gunfight if it does come for him. But in a very dangerous position, I think that has to be said. I think for Liquid, minute to go, all of the angles open for the verts. Now you just need to pick your targets.
Paolo is going to be hiding around here at main door as well, so Asfi just needs to be cautious on his movement. The Dokubi call will go off there, but Asfi's not entirely sure where the push could be coming from. It's better from Liquid this time. They've opened up a lot of that vert. I think that's the most vert we've seen them open so far. But look at where Asfi's been able to get. He's made a full rotation here. How has he been allowed to get up red stairs? That could be devastating.
No flank protection. That is just the end all and be all of Liquid. It could be if Asfi can make this flank work, but he doesn't really know where he wants to go. He is holding on to those brown stairs at the moment. The execute is coming in with those Candelas from Lagonis. Here comes Asfi. Here he goes. Is he going to look right? Is he going to look left? Where is he going to head? Maya has eliminated one right beside Asfi. Here he comes. Asfi takes out Maya, and this is where the confusion will occur for Liquid. But Polu is there to get the trade, but 10 seconds to go. He needs to get down there. Turd is still alive. Diffuser in the hands of Nesco. Oh, he loses as Mentalist swings through the double window, and Polu with no hope at all. Turd is there to claim his kill. Reaps and co, they will salvage.
I tell you what, it was all about Asfi. For me, that was an Asfi round through and through. The fact that he was allowed to rotate up those red stairs, there was a Dokubi call going on at that time. He answers the phone, gets himself up red, straight up. There was no drone there. There was a drone in the middle of the floor on mining, but there wasn't a drone watching that flank. It was just either expected it was held, or it was too crazy of a play for somebody to risk doing it.
And do you know where all of that stemmed from? Them not opening up the top of the red stairs. Because there's a portion where Asfi was playing, if you buck or breach charge around whatever it is above him, he can no longer play that position. That's just what it comes down to. It's a little bit lazy from Liquid. They didn't do all the vertical work that they needed to do.
Well, they did so much inside of dining. There was no floor left in dining.
They missed that one little part.
The table legs were starting to fall through.
In terms of the halftime scores across the board, I mean, look, Reaps, as much as what we said, he's been a top killer in the tournament. 4 and 5 at the moment. Not the greatest of performance from him.
Turd for me.
Yeah.
6 and 3. Been a real nuisance on the Legion, on the Mozzie.
Nobody's really breaking away, are they?
Well, no, but I mean, even Asfi, you look at his scoreline there, he's 2 and 5. He got a couple of really important kills in that last round. That kill that he got on the flank was round winning. So it really doesn't just go to show you the weight of the kills when they come through. Side swaps now, though, and an even split of the spoils. 3-3 apiece. Now, Bleed's turn to jump on the attack and show us exactly what they've got. They're bringing a very similar lineup here to the lineup that Liquid brought.
It is an improvement from their M80 matchup. Whenever they played against M80, it was a 4-2 split. So they have improved. Little
things.
Yeah.
It's all about the little things.
Oh, Nesk, almost. Honestly, one of those bullets hits the head, and good night for somebody from Bleed, because they almost did stack up there, 2 of them on that red hatch. It looked to be Reaps was the one who's actually dropped into red. The pace is certainly there from Bleed, but they basically just sent Reaps in by himself and just said, Reaps, go clear.
Yeah, Reaps go and kill. I mean, he's on the Dokubi, so he can be semi-self-sufficient on that. He can use those logic bomb phone calls to call the phones on the defenders and give himself an audio cue as to if he is safe or not. Still some work to be done on this mid-floor. Of course, the difference in the lineup, or the main difference in the lineup, being that there is no book being brought from the side of Bleed. Instead, they are relying on the Ram to do a lot of this opening up, which is absolutely fine. The Boogie Drone will rip open the floor, and it'll do a great job of it. And you can then use the breaching charges on IQ for some more precise angles or some more specific angles that just need opening, where you don't want to commit the full line of the Boogie Drone.
Bomb located.
IQ spotting out all the different gadgetries. Of course, there is a Fenrir on the board, which is always a little bit scary to deal with. As we know, not a lot of huge counters to the Fenrir. You always have to bring in, specific operators like Twitch, for example, which luckily Bleed do have in the pocket of Mentalist. Also, another thing I've seen a lot of teams use is just like pocket EMPs just to disable it and walk in and stuff like that, but I don't think Bleed will be doing any of that at the moment. They are going to try and focus on clearing out Maya inside Bakery, but it is a Wamai in this position, extremely difficult to deal with, but the flashbang that was delayed by the Wamai trap has enabled Maya to get that kill, while Reaps has been flashed by his own flash.
For the amount of util that was thrown in for that, it's almost a shame that the flashbang did still get the attacker. Asfi left on his own here, 1 versus 2. Maya has soaked up so much there inside a bakery. Asfi does still have a couple of smokes here. And he does have a bit of information, but the peek comes through at the same time. He can't hit both at once. Lagonis and Maya there going back to back, and it was Lagonis to pick up that final frag. Good hold there, and maybe a bit of a mistake from Bleed in the way that that utility was thrown, because there was no way that Maya was ever getting flashed out there.
I personally don't like the bakery attacks. I think if you're going for the trouble of, opening up all those vertical angles, you're just better going for the guy in VIP and restaurant, because there's more options to clear that guy out. And, with the vertical pressure you can apply, that then opens up hatch drops and stuff like that as well for you. So I think if you take VIP and restaurant, then you get more from it, because you get, like I said, areas like the hatch you can drop into. But yeah, just challenging Awamai inside a bakery, and that's one of the best positions that Awamai can play in on Cafe. I mean, to be fair, Cafe in general is just a great map for him. But look, it's Bleed. You have to struggle with that. But we do see a top floor being shown. Did not expect this.
Pretty bold from Liquid, I think, to go into that top floor. We've already mentioned that it can be a very difficult site to keep hold of. It's a very unpopular site in general on Cafe. And with what's available to the attackers here in the current banning, there is so much that they can use. I don't even know if Bleed have picked the most ideal. They've got the Capital, they've got the Grim. They could have picked a Ying. They could have picked a Glaz. There's so many things.
I think the big thing about the top floor, especially with an Azami ban, is it does make it very difficult, I feel, for the defender. Azami's great inside of Piano. A lot of different pieces of furniture you could just apply those barriers to. But they are going to try and almost, I would say, bring in the substitute, being the Castle. Even though, Castle's the OG, isn't he? If trying to block away certain lines of sight. You can see that big double one will try and protect Paulu for all he's worth inside of Cigar Shop. That's going to be a bit of a suicide hold for Paulu. He will either get all the kills or he will die. That's his only play he's got going on for him. But I'm worried about Ness, because this position's really good for the Azami, because you can block off just there on the stage. You can fire a concrete barrier and you can sit nicely. The windows can't see you, but there's going to be a lot of angles that Ness can be seen from. Oh, very close.
Well, the C4 goes out, and
there you go.
Fortunately for Bleed, it wasn't successful. And a nice little reposition there from Reaps. Nesk isn't able to watch everything there, and that's one of the reasons that you would like to have an Azami in that position. And it does just add on to the fact that this is probably not a fantastic bomb site, especially without an Azami. But Liquid aren't doing a bad job of holding on here. Lagonis has got an opportunity at a nice angle there as he jiggles out of Freezer. Mentalist is down on the Capitao as well. And for all that Hoven has got into Piano there, he doesn't feel like he can stand up. He isn't confident in continuing to take that ground because of how open it is. I say that, though. He finds one before being taken out by Maya. Maya not on a lot of HP, but he's walking underneath the skylight. How's he not being punished?
So I was going to mention, nobody from Bleed is in that pause to stop that from happening. Now all three of them are up there. Too late, fellas, to be going for this. Maybe they're looking for a hatch skylight drop, I don't know, but you've lost the two dumping operators with the utility. You've lost the Capitao to flame out with the freezer. You can't really grim into the back of Cocktail. Yeah, it's going to be really difficult, I think, now for Bleed to try and win this round out. As long as Liquid can just play the long angles, play the trades, they should be fine.
I'm really surprised that Reaps didn't go below and start to rip open a little bit of Cocktail, because that can be a really effective way of clearing out players like Maya in his current position. Lagonis is going to pick one up onto Reaps. Maya, another. There was a downed Liquid player in the midst of all of that, but everything coming up Liquid as Bleed went for a pretty desperate attempt at a play there.
Yeah, look, one big issue, they didn't have anyone on the skylight. We then see the Castle run across, eliminate your Grim, who was inside of Piano, which was obviously where you want that Grim to be in towards. And then once you lose any foothold you have inside the building, Liquid can then just re-establish themselves and could just set up, retake positions. You see that shield was still left up inside of Piano as well. And Bleed will be going for the timeout. So Julio needs to have a few words with them, because it's not looking good at the moment. You've lost 2 attacks. And I would say, honestly, attacking it is very difficult in this map as well if you just aren't winning your engagements, which at the moment for Bleed, I think the trade game for Bleed at the moment is the big issue for them.
Good time for the tactical timeout here, I think. Bleed haven't seen any success on the attack as of yet. So instead of waiting to see a full rotation and waiting for Liquid to potentially be on a map point, Helios uses now to rally the troops and dish out some words of wisdom. One thing I will say, Liquid look incredibly fired up for today. They are making noise, they are vocal. When they're winning around, they are screaming. Nesk and Lagonis in particular look extremely up for the fight.
Attackers have located a bomb.
You need your big players on form. It's all about the momentum that you can gain inside of your game and inside of your series. And Liquid right now, they just have that little bit of a run of form. But there is only one thing I'll always say about Liquid. Sometimes you can't trust them to see out a series.
5 seconds remaining.
That look, you can say, oh, Devil Advocate, you can't say that. Liquid are a known team whenever they're in the position to get the win. It looks so easy for them. What happens?
It's map 1 though. Surely they can close out map 1.
I get that, but
maybe if we get into map 3, it gets a little bit dicey.
no, but still, just you can't escape that Liquid curse. And the thing is, it's not just this team; it's the org, isn't it? It's the org across various games that have that issue. But I don't know. I just until I see Liquid says Liquid win, I'm not believing until it happens.
Well, that's not something that Bleed want to see. They have just taken a timeout. Timeouts are usually good for a round. Coaches are judged quite heavily on the impact that they can have inside of that tactical timeout. It's the only thing that they can bring to the team whilst the game is in play. And it has to work. It has to be noteworthy. So, Bleed, for all intents and purposes, the lineup isn't too different. It wasn't a real fundamental thing that they were looking to try and change. Instead, it was, you know, more you need to push in these sort of ways because Liquid, they've really settled quite heavily. Look at all of their utility soak that they've got here. They've got the laser gates, they've got the magnets, they've got the warden. Every single thing on that side of Team Liquid requires attention in some way, and you've just lost Asfi. Asfi goes down, immediately traded out there. Hoven gets a nice pick over onto Nesk. But it doesn't help Bleed in this exchange of utility.
I think it's an okay trade. You've taken down one of the operators who will regain their gadget as time goes on. So I think taking out the Wamai is very strong right now.
But what's the plan for the mirror window?
I get
Got to get in there with the Twitch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you have the Twitch. You can also just try and, you know, smoke or flash off as well. There is other options in mirror window. It's not completely
quite literally nobody playing the mirror window right now.
Not an issue then, is it? Well, if no one's there, it's not really an issue.
I think Hoven's just going to leave it. He's going to go, you know what? Yeah. We'll save that one for us. We might need that.
Might need it for a retake. You never know. But this is looking okay for Bleed. I mean, they still need to get in there and find some picks. Oh, that's a good spot, though, from the Twitch. Oh, can he get it? Yes, he does. Also sees the Fenrir trap, but it's not activated. So, well played by Lagonis not to activate it just yet until the time is right for them. And, oh, Maya playing with fire as he dances underneath the floorboards. In goes a flash, and I wonder if the execute's going to come in here in 30 seconds, Ollie. Looks like it is.
Well, they're going to have to do something, aren't they? We can start to see laser gates now getting burned. We do have a heavy push on in. Could that be the plant going down? Maybe. Still 20 seconds left, and Hoven has started to get that plant down, but he's very late down. I'm not sure why he didn't get to do that straight away. Resets. He's gonna find himself one onto Hoven. Reaps trades back out. The kit has been recovered here. Mentalist, you've got a job to do, but the flank is on. Maya grabs one over onto Turd. Reaps, he's trying to look every which way, and it's left down to Mentalist. The time's just gonna run out there for Bleed.
I think every single player bar one went for a flank from Liquid. You had one guy coming up towards Gold Stairs, you had another one all the way on the top floor, another one then goes up White Stairs. They had just a triple-pronged attack going in to try and retake that from Bleed, which, honestly, from Liquid, that's probably why you play that. You assess to say Bleed, right, they don't really have any flank protection, not seeing any of that, you know, locked down, and let's just go for it. It's like, okay, they might expect one, but they're not going to expect two, and they're definitely not going to expect the third coming up.
C4 to start it all there.
C4 from below. Oh, I'm so far away.
A C4 from below, apparently. Really?
C4 from below.
No.
That's the com. Oh, that was one one of the clearest player comms that we've had so far.
What, C4 from below?
Well, no, but it's just screaming and shouting and like laughter and stuff like that. So it's what it is. But it's very seldom that we actually get to hear them just talk.
Very wholesome. C4 from below.
C4 from below.
Make it a quote.
Put it on a t-shirt.
That's it.
I got C4 from below by Parley.
10 seconds remaining.
I reckon there'll be a few people that buy it. It's probably happened to quite a few. Down to the bakery we go. This is going to be Liquid's attempt at closing out map number 1 in this series. Don't forget, Cafe is Bleed's map choice. And the fact that they are yet to win an attack on it does not bode well at all. It is a map that they played yesterday against M80, so there's a chance Liquid did a bit of review, but neither of these teams have had much time to prepare for their opponent ahead of this one.
They only won 2 rounds on attack against M80. That was it. That's all they got. And by that logic, they may get to 5 rounds here and then lose. They only showed us the 2 attack wins. So very, very worrying right now for Bleed, but they need to do something big. I think obviously flank protection there really came in to bite them. You know, that was obvious. I mean, to be fair, Liquid I think also had issues with flanks. We've seen that.
It's always going to be a difficult map because of how many staircases there are.
Staircases,
It's
yeah.
very difficult to keep a lock on 3 staircases. And yes, Brown Stairs doesn't transition all 3 floors, but it does enough. And it is devastating, and it's one that often gets forgotten about. But I do agree, Bleed's attacks today, they've not been up to par at all. And Liquid on the flip side, they've just done what's necessary. The first couple of attacks weren't very good, but they really switched it on. And on the defense, they've just gone from strength to strength.
I mean, look at the kills from Bleed. Everyone negative, bar Turd, who's only, 1.0 positive. That's it. So I also think just Bleed just aren't hitting their shots today
Yeah.
the way that they should be. And Liquid obviously are. I think Resets hit some really nice ones on the attack. I think he finished 6-2 or 6-3, something like that.
Live game from Lagonis, 8-4.
Lagonis. A big comeback from the 0-10.
It really is.
Once you hit that 0-10, anything you do after that will be better. So Lagonis, yeah, you've done better, mate.
Yeah.
Not as though it's difficult, but...
Oh, serious LG. The floor has been ripped open upstairs. And now we can start to pick away at these defenders. There is a cap can in play this time as well, so it just gives something extra strong, something extra to think about, and something extra to catch you if you're not careful.
So the only thing that maybe may hinder Liquid is they don't have the Wamai playing in Bakery this time. Like you mentioned, they have a cap can, and what's cap can really going to do against all this utility being tossed at them?
Well, exactly. Maya was really successful last time in Bakery. Maybe Bleed aren't going to go for it this time. It looks as though they're going for a slightly different approach. Maya's kind of just going to give himself away there. I thought he was going to try and swing out, shoot the Hibanas, keep his position, but he just kind of didn't do anything. Unfortunately, for him at least, Asfi is there to pick him up, and now Mentalist can continue to thoroughly drone through and say, look guys, Bakery's clear, get somebody in there, start to take that ground.
Just that difference with not having the utility operator playing inside a Bakery just gives Bleed that free access in, and they don't really have to fight for the Bakery whatsoever. You know, Maya he turned himself in, essentially. But still, I think Bleed, they have to try and get the diffuser down. There are still 4 players left to make that free now, but oh, a great shot from Lagonis inside a coat, has that long angle. Oh, he's going to go for the flank now.
Well, Lagonis is going to try and retake that vert. Reap's going to find one. Hoven is going to fall. What a retake there from Lagonis. He could still do this right now. The plant's going down. He's got a live ping information, but it is blind. Asfi, he's trying to body block. He's trying to cover. And now the plant has confirmed. Lagonis choose to stay upstairs for a little bit of time. Could also choose to go and directly push this. This isn't a must-win situation by any stretch, but it'd be a nice confidence boost to get it over the line.
Oh, sniper shot there for Mentalist, holds firm. It was a close one. You know, Liquid really battling back to retake that top floor, but thankfully they planted in the perfect position in towards those rice bags, right beside the double window. It is a blind spot from above. There is no vertical angle that you can get to eliminate somebody inside of that plant position. So well acknowledged by Bleed to make that happen, knowing the last guy is above. You plant safe. He then has to rotate at some point. You can then just hold the angles. Yeah, great work from Bleed. They are in it still, and look, we mentioned before, this is a team that just refuses to give up. 2 rounds? Look, it's going to be difficult, especially whenever now that Liquid get some of the sites they had already won are going to be unlocked for them again. That's the difficult thing. You now have to beat Liquid on sites. They've already shown us they're very comfortable with the defense.
1 round at a time for Bleed from here on out. They need to pick 2 up if they want to take it into an overtime. Looks like we are going to hit a technical pause right now as we have a bit of trouble with one of the players on the side of Bleed, but as soon as that gets resolved, we will get ourselves back into the game. Little reminder for everyone, during the technical pause, you're not allowed to talk to the coach and you are not allowed to talk to your teammates. Can of course talk to admins, and they're there to oversee all that sort of stuff. But it isn't a timeout. That's the main gist of it. And especially for Bleed, when they have just won a round, first time in a long time, it's gonna dampen that momentum just ever so slightly. Might not be the worst thing in the world, but it also gives Liquid time to recompose and go, we only need one more round. Get in your own thoughts and figure it out.
I think right now, whenever you actually look at the way Liquid have been playing on their defense, it has been just very focused on trying to get the refrags, hasn't it? You just want to make sure that Bleed are always going to have to keep challenging. And I think it was because Liquid gave away the first blood. That kind of ruined the kind of momentum for Liquid. You know, if Liquid get that first pick, they will just play that trade game time and time again. So I think that's a very important thing to look at, is just the opening pick stat for both of these sides as well.
Liquid have only had the opening pick in 4 rounds, which is quite surprising given that they've won 6. That means that 2 rounds that Bleed got the opening pick didn't get converted into a round win, so Bleed didn't work that man advantage into their favor. Bleed have been fantastic on the opening pick, but because of that, they haven't been always converting that round. There's 3 rounds total where Bleed have had the opening pick and not converted. So it does go to show that they're not doing a great job of fighting from ahead at the moment, which is something that is a bit of a basic, really. When you start to trade those numbers down, it becomes very simple mathematics of, if you have more than the other team and you go in for one-for-one trades, you are going to come out winning. Bleed haven't been able to do that. That's in part due to the way that Liquid have been playing. We haven't seen any crazy 3Ks. Maya got a 3K in round number 8, I believe, and we saw Mentalist get 3 kills in round number 2. So it hasn't been a game of standout performances so far.
Both teams haven't really been focused on the utility dump either. I know they've brought some of the operators to do that, but have you really seen like an effective Grim yet, or an effective Capitao yet?
I haven't even seen a Ying demo.
Haven't seen the effective Ying. We've seen it, I think, the one time for Liquid, but then I think Ying got flanked from above. Whenever we seen, I think it was
Lagonis was on the Ying.
Whoever it was. So yeah, just the operators you expect to kind of flourish in this environment just have not been used to great effect, which is a big shocker. No Blitz either. I know Monty is banned, but again, Blitz still has his uses as well. Just both teams very focused and just trying to get kills. A lot of the vertical, I would say vertical has been a big thing as well for both teams.
It has.
You know, especially for that bottom floor.
Booker's been picked in every single round bar 1. So that's a pretty wasty statistic. I think it just does go to show the power of that operator. There was a game the other day when we actually saw a Book banned. It was a Liquid game, wasn't it?
Yeah, Nighthaven.
And it did scupper them a little bit in the heat of the moment.
Polly was still picking up kills for the Demo.
Well, Polly got on the Deimos, and maybe that's why the Deimos has been banned here, because you can be a bit of a menace on that operator.
Don't forget, this is only the first map. Still have another map guaranteed, and it will be Chalet. Again, a great map over the history of Liquid. Bleed got 7-1 against Fury on that map.
Yeah. I always think of Chalet as a map that, I don't know, I love watching it. I think we've got a fantastic set of maps here inside of this best of 3 series. I can see that we do have all the players in the lobby, actually. I think we're just waiting for a final confirmation to get everything underway and get the game started.
Again for Bleed, big day for them. This is their moment to kind of break that curse of, hey, we've been a team that have been 2-0 before, and we've also choked that 2-0 before to not even qualify for that main stage. Obviously, look at Liquid as well, what history that team has had. I think for Liquid, this has probably been the best we've seen them, Molly, in a long time.
I think the thing to consider ahead of this matchup as well, like you say, Liquid, they've played well to get to this point. They're coming in off the back of a win yesterday, whereas Bleed are coming in off the back of a loss.
2 wins for Liquid. They were 0-2. They had to string 2 together, didn't they?
Well, exactly. Liquid have won back-to-back games there. They beat SSG and they also beat Scars to get here right now. Bleed on the flip side, they, like I said, they lost against M80 yesterday, and they also lost against Furia.
We can allow the Furia loss. We'll give you that.
Can we?
Yes. It's Furia.
Are we just giving games away to Furia at this point?
I think every team just accepts, aren't they? They're the overlords, you know?
They've still got to get in and win.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Maybe M80 could be the savior. Will it be M80? Well, no one expected M80.
Well, they've already beaten BDS once, haven't they? It wasn't overtime, though, and it was a best of 1, so you never know. In a series, it could be very different indeed. But we are back in the game. Thanks so much for bearing with us. Hopefully, we have got everything sorted And we are back ready to rock and roll. Immediate difference that I see inside of this lineup for Bleed demo is going to be the Brava.
Yeah.
Mentalist. He has been contemplating operators for the last 3 minutes or so, and he has decided, you know what's going to fix this situation? I'm going to bring a Brava.
Yeah. Look, we're heading to the top floor. I'm very surprised that Liquid have not went for the same strategy using the castles, where they had the castle barricades placed around some of the windows, onto the double door inside of Piano as well, to assist anyone who could be playing inside Cigar Shop. That's all been moved away. And I will say, I think they've just favored for like longer range, engagements. They've brought in the Wama who has the the scope on it as well. You think about Maya has the scope on it as well with his DMR that can hit like an absolute truck. Sadly, Warden didn't receive an advanced scope. That was gone. All the Warden crutches devastated with that news.
Well, I think it's probably for the best, isn't it? You didn't need the MPX with a 1.5 anymore. That was old news. Even I was crutching onto that thing. Good pacing here from Bleed. Palu is going to be hanging around below, though. Instantly, this is the first round that Turd hasn't played the IQ. He switched over onto the Ash for this round, maybe anticipating those castle barricades like you mentioned, Demo, and now there's none there, and Palu's picked over onto the Valk, and the IQ would have been absolutely perfect for it. Still got Brava, so you can still switch the drone, switch those cameras over and steal them back for yourself, but there's no way of easily finding them.
Have they eliminated the shield yet that is going to be tucked in towards Pixel? Yes, they have, so that's a great start already for Bleed. I believe it was Turd using his Ash rounds to eliminate the shield. So that's really step one, is just try and clear Piano as efficiently as you can. As we know, Polo is going to be downstairs with the C4, can try and C4 somebody if they are inside of Piano. See yellow pings coming in. I believe that's going to be Maya or Nesk, one of the two, trying to supply information over to him. It will be Maya. They know he's in stage. This is the same position that we've seen Bleed get into last time, but they're just waiting. Here we go, a perfect yellow ping, and Polo sends Reaps into next week.
Turd will find Nesk in the meantime, though. Maintaining a 4 versus 4. Camera's now starting to slowly but surely get spotted out there, as Turd was convinced that the chandelier had something that wasn't usual on it. Can confirm it was just a normal chandelier, but you do want to keep an eye on one of the chandeliers, because we did see him throw a camera up onto one of them earlier on in the prep phase. Smoke there for the hatch, and a hot throw comes in, going in through heaven as well, but 2 kills in for Liquid straight away. Mentalist in the heart of the site on long, but not able to find anything as Maya picks up 2. Turd, he's got himself into Freezer. He's in a nightmare position right now. He's almost got himself into a coffin for himself. Grabs a great shot over onto Maya, but he's got 2 more yet to find. 18 seconds to go to keep Bleed in this. We do have a player in Wash, and we do have a player on Pixel as well, but with it all being reinforced, it's going to be so difficult for him to do anything. Gets wallbanged by Lagonis there as the final kill comes in. Map number 1 goes to Liquid.
Big performance from Liquid to get that first map underway. Bleed. Nice attempt at a quick execute, but they didn't check Poli below. Poli got another kill from downstairs, so he got 2 just on their own. 1 C4 kill, 1 I believe he eliminated the player who was swinging in through the top of heaven as well. So a lot of issues just with dealing with that roamer. And Bleed, they will go 1-0 down in the series. That was also their map pick. We have Chalet to come next, which is where Liquid have chosen to go.
Bleed looking a little bit dejected right now. It is only map 1 inside of the best of 3. They've got a bit of time now to recompose themselves ahead of going into Chalet. We've got Jack ready with a telestrator, fresh. Take it away, show us what you saw.
Thank you very much, Ollie. So, Liquid, they got themselves a 3-3 split on their attacks. Now, I want to talk about their attack onto the mining and dining bomb site. The first thing is that they've identified an entry. They've identified a player on his own. It's going to be the mirror inside of Train here. On their own, completely on their own, and they want to get that entry kill. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to see how Liquid get that entry kill, then we're going to see how they react onto that. So, first and foremost, we've got Lagonis out on the balcony. He's on the Dokkaebi. He's the one whose drone has droned out this mirror. And what he's going to do is instruct his 2 entry players of Maya and Resets to basically go in and double up on this player. So he's got the drone, uses his Dokkaebi call, uses his flashbang, and these are the 2 players up out on the top of your screen. They're going to force in and go down at the mirror window. Or at the mirror. There's no mirror window on it. But that's not just that. There's teamwork all over the board here. Nesk, on the bottom of your screen on the Zofia, he's going to impact through and basically hold the mirror's runaway from the train side. Palu on the right of your screen, he's going to hold the flanks for his 2 entries. And you're going to see it now. Here we go. Maya's going to buck in, Resets is going to go in, and that is going to be the entry achieved from Liquid. But this is the difference between good teams, great teams. Liquid now know that they want to push through, they want to get the plant, they want to react faster than Bleed can react onto that. So what do? Lagone is straight in the window, going to look for the plant there. Now, this isn't the end of it. This is where the 2 entries of Maya and Resets are excellent, in my opinion. They get themselves down to 90, get in the faces of Bleed before Bleed can absolutely react. Lagone is going in for the plant, and this is where the round is going to be won. Because of how much they push in the face, it's going to be a 5 versus 3. Plant's going down. Bleed, basically, they don't know what's going on at this point. They try a retake, but they can't think about it. They've just got to play the FPS side. Plant's down, and from there, it's an unwinnable situation. That's how Liquid navigated a 3-3 split onto Cafe, which is impossible to do for a lot of teams. That's what set themselves up for success on this map. Now, I'm going to throw you to a break, and after that, we're going to have map 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Manchester Major. We are in the midst of a thrilling best of three here between Liquid and Bleed to decide who advances out of Phase 2. This is an elimination game demo. So far, we have seen one map inside of this best of three series. We've had Cafe, that was won by Liquid at a scoreline of 7-4, as you can see there at the bottom of your screen. It was Bleed's map choice. Now we head into Chalet, Liquid's map choice, to decide if this is going to go to all three or if it is just going to be a 2-0 Liquid day.
I think it could be. Chalet, notoriously a strong map for Liquid, always has been. Whereas for Bleed, they've already lost it here at the Major, and it was a very tough defeat. 7-1 against, albeit, Furia, who, as we know, are Grand Slammers.
Well, they are Furia, a team to be feared. For anyone unfamiliar, that is a previous W7M roster. I'm sure that's a name that a lot of you are familiar with at home. Oh, the social vote. It has slid and slid and slid. This was not quite far off 50-50 in the first map. Now we're at a 79-21.
And the thing is, I think a lot of people probably looked at this game and thought, it's a coin toss. It really is. Both teams could win that, but right now, I think after that first map, Liquid just looked the more dominant team. Apart from the first two rounds where Liquid were a little bit sleepy, a little bit slow, and Bleed obviously win those two rounds. Just after that, it was just Liquid all the way.
Well, they got their heads together, didn't they? And they didn't even need a timeout to do it. And that was one of the more impressive things in that fixture. Now we head on into Chalet. Let's see what we can find here. Monty comes out as a ban. That is a same band that we saw over on Cafe. The Deimos comes out as well. Again, very similar. Solace here, perhaps?
I don't think Bleed will be banned for Solace.
I'm not sure. Valkyrie.
Good ban. Holding caused a lot of issues on Cafe.
The frustrating thing was they played IQ every single round, and the round they didn't, Parley plays Valk, and it ruins him. He gets 2 kills vertically, and it wraps the game up, and it just so happened to be at the most important point. Fenrir getting removed here now as well. Fantastic removal. I
think it's a very good ban for Liquid, removing that Fenrir. Whenever you look at Chalet as a map, there is a lot of option for those kind of rat plays. I think Liquid, especially Nesk, this tournament has been extremely proficient on being able just to see a gap and taking that. Without having to deal with the Fenrir, it'll just enable Nesk even more.
Fenrir really slowed Liquid down on Cafe, and that was one of our criticisms of their attacks, was that the Fenrir was slowing them down. They were being very slow in general on those attacking rounds. So that is going to be a little bit of a sigh of relief, I guess, for the side of Liquid, knowing that they don't have to deal with that. But it's going to be a few rounds until we see Liquid on the attack, because they're starting on the defense here on Chalet. Bleed, they are going to be kicking off things on the attack for us, and we are going to be headed to everybody's favorite bar and games to kick things off.
Here we go into our first round. Look, Liquid on the defense, it's not the favorable half. Usually this is an attacker-sided map. And the reason why is, one, it really comes down to a lot of gun skills. Generally, attackers will have better high-damaging guns than the defenders. And two, there is just so many options for those rat plays, like I mentioned. There's a lot of really neat little rushes as well that you can utilize. So there's just a lot of things going in favor of the attackers, whereas the defense, I think if you're not switched on, if you don't have ways of gaining information and just stopping those kind of crouch walks happen into the site, you can have a lot of issues. Looking on the side of Liquid in terms of what they have brought, I mean, they have the Frost, which is going to be very helpful for denying, obviously, the window jump-ins and things like that. And like you mentioned before as well about the Frost, there's no such thing as a bad Frost map.
There isn't. You've laughed at me a million times,
but
laughing. You are slowly getting on board with the fact that there is no such thing as a bad Frost map. The worst ones become the best ones when they catch somebody out. For the meantime, Bleed, they are going to be mounting an attack here onto Solar. Maya is playing in lower trophy, and he is on the Solus, so there is a bit of potential to jump out. He missed the hatch. And he might actually pay the price for that, because that first impact going off is just going to give the game away here. Bleed, very quick to react. And Reaps is there to collect an opener.
Very confusing play there from Maya.
How do you miss a hatch with an impact?
Right, first of all, he's inside a trophy whenever they were pushing from Solar. And he thinks, oh, I'll go below. And he probably was looking for the run out down through garage anyway. But it's like, if you miss the first impact, I don't know. It's a weird one. It's a weird one there from Maya. But he will get punished because of that. And that has opened things up for Bleed. And even more so as the second kill comes in. And it's going to be Reaps. Nesk off the board, but again, the Frost, he's already placed his utility, so it's not much in terms of, oh, it's an offer you would like to have for the active gadget, whatever it is that they have. Frostmaster already down. Reaps sees the shield in front, but nobody's home right now to really play off that. Lagonis has attempted a bit of a swing, but for Liquid, they just don't have enough men now to hold on to that top floor.
It's fortunate, really, for Liquid that Bleed are so fragmented at the moment and they've spent a bit of time to get into position. We now have somebody getting in onto ranked window. There's going to be a couple of stuns thrown in and a great attempt from Mentalist. He's not done there. He's going to wait for the next impact to go off as well. A brilliant push from Mentalist there, utilizing all of his stuns to get the job done. Lagonis finds himself down. The final kill there gets collected by Hoven. Bleed, they've come out sprinting this time, Demo.
Every single kill that happened to Liquid, I would say all of their players were a good 10, 15 meters away from another person. They were so far apart from one another. Look at the Solus, by himself.
Well, it starts
Nesk,
with the Solus, doesn't it?
Nesk by himself.
Yeah.
Obviously, Gabe Narnia downstairs, nowhere near any of the action. That's a big issue for Liquid is, and I really praise them. That's how I thought they did really well on Cafe, is that they were always being able to get the kill back as soon as they lost somebody. Right from the get-go, they haven't been able to do that. I mean, Blade have obviously just picked their targets, and I suppose it is a case of they've all just won their individual 1v1s. Sometimes it's kind of what it comes down to, is just win your ones. I think, M80, whenever they were up against Bleed, they just won their ones.
Here we go. That's what I'm here for.
That's why you've came here?
I'm here for people shouting other players'
10
names.
seconds remaining.
That's all I want to see.
5 seconds
Bleed
remaining.
starting with the mental warfare nice and early. This time they were pretty quiet on Cafe, and they had good reason to be because
Attackers
it wasn't a map that went their
objective
way
bomb
at
and
all. They are one of the teams that do tend to bring a little bit more banter to the table, and they've certainly caught a lot of neutral fans over the last 12 months or so. Let's see how round 2 fares for them here. They got gifted a run out early on in round number 1, and I don't think that Liquid are going to make that same mistake, but all the other kills that came through still demonstrate how easy it is for attackers to really get in and pick up some pace on this map.
Yeah, you can. I think you can get into the building extremely easily if teams are really hindered by the operators that they can choose. I wouldn't really say that it's the case here for Liquid. I mean, you still have like Azami and things like that you can use to slow down time, almost build those kind of fortifications and fall back and build another one if you want to. And speaking of the Azami, we do see that from Maya. 2 Kiva barriers in pocket at the moment, and he will now use one of them on that window. And that's the great thing about Azami is, some of these great cut-off angles that you can kind of set up from an attacker perspective, just block them up again and just give you that free access. Oh, resets.
The Grimbees go in there, but
Not dub.
nobody is going to be home. Mentalist could choose to make his way up Solar here, but he is concerned about what's going on down below, and he should be, because with a Solace available, it's almost a guarantee that they are going to be playing in and around the underneath of that site, waiting to try and deny.
I think they're going to try and get the player out of the bathtub. I think that's who they're hunting for right now, because I did see a yellow ping coming in from Bleed, so they know exactly where Resets is, but how do you even go around trying to challenge the shield in the bathtub with about 20 million Whammy discs set up? And Reeves has got the lineup from the flashbangs, and it is going to be this execute now in towards the bathtub. I do like that Myers came to help him, though. I think that's a great play from him. But everyone now from Liquid just holding firm. In goes all the utility. Line scans, Grims, flashes, Asphy eliminates Lagonis, and it's going to be Trace City. It's still a 3 versus 3, and Resets and Maya are still alive. The bathtub holds strong.
Hoven goes around to shoot the default there. It's already gone, my friend. Reset as he single-handedly won that round from the bathtub. He soaked up so much utility there. There was nades coming in, there was bees, there was flashbangs. The kitchen sink was getting thrown at him, and he was just happy there soaking away.
He scrubbed them up.
He did. He cleaned him right off. Great round.
Rubber duck sitting in a row.
Brilliant play there. And it just goes to show that if you'd have just ignored that position, sometimes it's better for you in Siege. If a team has invested so heavily into the bathtub, push somewhere else.
Honestly, I think Maya rotating over to help him was a key thing there, though. I really like the fact that Maya came over to assess the danger. They had seen that there wasn't really much happening from the reading side of things. All of it was really coming in from, Trophy onto some of the windows outside, and he kind of realized that they're going to try and go for a solar take. I'm going to just sit here, almost use the guy in the bathtub as a bit of a bait for me to get some kills.
leveled up at 1 round apiece then. We haven't really seen this be a back and forth series so far. Both teams have sort of streaked rounds when they've won them. Bleed won the first 3 over on Cafe, and then Liquid proceeded to win 7 in a row. This is the first time that we've had a little bit of back and forth here, so we'll obviously see how round 3 fares and whether that is something that is going to continue here or not. Regardless, we are going to see a different site choice come out here.
Here we go. We'll see how Bleed want to try and battle back from their previous round loss. We're just getting a general gist of what Bleed have really brought in. I mean, you see the Jackal come in, so maybe Roamers. I mean, certainly that Solus was causing them a lot of issues that they just didn't really know how they wanted to approach the Roamer. And I suppose the good thing is Jackal just makes that a very easy solution. You know, Jackal, that's his whole kit, is just to hunt down those Roamers. And I suppose with Deimos being banned as well from Bleed, that's really all you've got, is being able to use the Jackal. This is going to be a quick hunt for just straight into the site, I believe. Yeah, Reaps is straight in. The wall, though, is going to be fully reinforced, but they have got their way in towards Trench. They probably see that, hey, look at Liquid. They are going for a very heavy roam game. They might just leave the site a little bit too soft, and maybe we could take advantage of that.
Nesk seeing if he can work a little bit of vertical there. He does have the keeper barriers to keep himself safe as the big window gets opened. He can create himself a little bit of a fort. Of course, we've got the Maverick to start opening this wall as well, so no real worries about the electrification and the Cade Claw that will be on there. Mentalist, he can get himself rotated around as well, so if they can remove that Cade Claw, he can then use the Excaros pellets to get the job done.
Keep in mind that this is a basement as well. You know, we see Liquid have extended extremely heavily in towards the mid-floor, and basement is usually a pretty favored bomb site for the attackers. Defenders have a really tough time, but I don't really see it happening right now for Liquid. They look quite comfortable in positions that they're in. We do see a standoff between Paulo and Reaps, on one on the trench door, one towards the bottom of West Main stairs, but a minute to go, and Bleed really have done nothing in the server right now.
It is a little bit scary from a Bleed perspective. Players like Nest just hiding out on that top floor. The longer that they go unchecked, the further the clock ticks down and the more difficult it's going to be to deal with right at the bitter end. Parley, he's going to pick himself up a nice kill there over onto Reaps, and there's no one really to immediately challenge onto that. Turd deals with the vertical, he deals with Nest playing upstairs, but Asfi, he's going to be the next player to fall. Turd goes down along with him. Hoven, a little bit of a C-key test there for Meyer. I'm not sure if it's sticky or something, but Mentalist left on the outside of the breach. He has a Maverick line to work with, but nobody from Liquid is going to expose themselves. And even if they do, I highly doubt that 4 out of the 5 remaining players are going to die to a single Maverick line. Yeah,
he was sat here for a very long time, and Reset isn't happy. And they go and get him anyway. Maya with the jump out. I mean, I can't blame Reset. It's like, what is he doing out there? What is he doing?
He's just having a holiday, isn't he?
He's not supposed to be having a holiday. He could be going home in a minute.
He's in the... Well, he was trying to get into the garage to get his skis out.
Oh.
We're in the Alps here. We're going skiing.
Not going skiing.
Strange round from a Bleed perspective, and I guess strange round from a Liquid perspective, really. You don't always expect there to be that many players off-site. Now, that's a lack of droning, I guess, from the side of Bleed. They didn't have a good handle on a number of people that were on the site and the locations that were being occupied.
What we seen initially from, I think it was around about the 2-minute mark, we had seen the Dokkaebi and the Buck stack up outside of Trench. And I think somebody may have calmed, oh, they are leaving the trench wall soft. And they were expecting just to use the Buck to sprint in and straight in towards site, seeing that, and, you know, that massive roam game upstairs. That wall was reinforced, and almost looked as though whenever they seen it was reinforced, they had no idea what to do after that. They had no idea how to attack that.
Bar and games for round number 4. Liquid looking to take a little bit more of a lead here. We're actually going to be playing with the hatch open inside a library this time. They played with it soft and Cade reinforced and caded in a previous round. But here it is going to be open, so that means that they will play library for a little bit longer. Look to try and hold in that position and then work through, drop the hatch when it comes appropriate, or retreat back to that fireplace stairs. This was, of course, the only round or the only site that Bleed have been successful on so far in the series. And it kind of came down to Maya giving him a freebie on the run out and leaving Nesk upstairs on his own. That isn't going to happen this time.
I like the castle barricade placements right now from Liquid, because you may think, oh, well, they're not going to really do much, not really covering any strong angles. All they're doing is just stopping Bleed gain early access into those positions. That's really all they're there for. And I mean, if they start getting opened up, then you know, oh, there's going to be players pushing me from that way. And right now, Paulie and Maya, guns up. They know exactly where Bleed are going to be coming in from, and they can just try and play the trades.
Reaps has himself a nice little angle to work with there. It's going to be Asfi to find the opener and to get the confirm over onto Nesk. Bit of an assist there from Reaps, I think, but a great job at clearing out those players on that double window. Puts a lot of pressure on, especially with how much time's left here, Demo. 5 versus 3, you've still got a player on Fireplace. Maya and Lagonis here, they don't know whether to tuck into Library, whether to tuck onto Fireplace. They've got a bit to work with, but they've not got loads.
The issue for Liquid, it's just the kind of general setup. I mean, if they lose those players towards Office, which again, Nesk has just died again. Nesk straight off the board, didn't really put up a fight. They don't really have an option after that. And then you can see Bleed start to use all the different avenues that you have on the attack. 2 players rotate out towards the raiding side of things. And Turd finds resets. Maya still in the suicide position. But all it takes is 1 drone, and he'll be spotted out. And speaking of drones, a great find here from Hoven. The Frost located inside a connector. Maya still upstairs, and well, you just get the drones in, Bleed. That's all you need to do. You know where one is, find the second, and it should be no issues. And there we go, the jump in. But Maya, of course, being undroned, will pick up an easy one onto Hoven. Is he hungry for more? Is he after more kills? And Maya, though, another one. Oh, my word. Almost there for Liquid, but Bleed still have enough men on the board to see the round through. But Bleed just taking their time there with the drone work.
Had it not been for Reaps, it could have been a very different story there. It's a nice flashy 2-piece he picks up at the end to get the round closed out. Maya and Lagonis doing a good job of holding on that top floor, but it was never going to be enough after that initial entry. Picking up 2 kills on the entry like that, you should be winning 99% of those rounds. You really don't want to be losing your 3 versus 5s. It does become a big problem indeed. Asfi, star of the moment there with that opening. I'm not too sure what Turn was thinking there. It was almost a bit of a double take, wasn't it, when he saw Resets just running along next to him as he dropped and got through the double.
Yeah, you don't really expect this.
But you just don't expect to be
full-on sprinting through a lobby. No,
he's just running through lobby, like, why not at this point? It's he's got to do what he's got to do, right? 2-2, shaping up for another even half here. I guess it all depends on, again, it comes down to Liquid's attacks, doesn't it, at this point? Because if this goes 3-3, which it very likely will, we're going to have another game on our hands.
I still think one more round for Liquid. If they get the third, they should be fine. You know, like I mentioned, attacker side is what Chalet is. But we do now head to our kitchen bomb site. Usually one where you'll see defenders fight tooth and nail for controlling above, just because if you control above, then there's going to be nowhere safe to plant from an attacker perspective inside of the site if you know that there are defenders upstairs. So I would say for Bleed, they'll probably try and rotate above. I mean, they don't really have a lot of hard breach, though, to really cement that. They only have the Habana, and they will have to try and open up, you know, not just the top floor walls, but also the actual site walls as well.
Reset's going to be rocking on the Vigil this time. Liquid going for a real loose lineup here with the Vigil, the Solace. They've got a little bit of stability in the Azami. Of course, you're going to always try and build a bit of a fortress for yourself and give you some pockets of safety, but missed impact trick there. It's going to force Resets just out of position.
It's not really missed. It's just the way the changes are with the impact grenades. It's just a radius.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at last patch, all of those would have been taken off. So, yeah, it's just one of them. The impacts are just clearly not as effective as what they used to be. One thing I've noticed from Hoven, though, is he's hacked a lot of gadgetry. He's taken down a lot of the Banshees, more importantly. Is that his third Banshee? I think he's gotten all 3 of them. Right now, I think for Bleed, they're probably thinking, just hit site. We can just try and walk up in through West Main, hit through Trophy Window, hit through Short. That's the kind of options right now for them.
Well, they seem to be shaping up for a bit of a hop in here through Trophy. And that bulletproof camera's flashing blue as well. And that's going to mean that they've got info on that Mentalist. He's got a great spot there onto Lagonis, and the kills are going to start to come in now. Resets He picks up Reaps as Reaps was trying to make something happen there. Hoven go for a bit of a rotation, see if he can get that back as a trade, and he does. Some good information exchange there. They've still got that BP on site though, so they're always going to know where Lagonis is.
Lagonis has no idea that this information is being fed through to Bleed, of course, right now. Hoven trying to see if he can thread the needle through the little bit of a gap, taps him, and finally shuts him down. Hoven is in the thick of it inside of the site. Any more info that he can gain? Does he know about the player coming in towards short? There is still a player on the hatch that has not been dealt with. Where has Paulu came in from? How has been allowed to rotate?
Bleed looked like they had trophy on lockdown, and Paulu's been allowed to do that. Mentalist maybe asleep at the wheel there on the big rappel. Not sure if he had an angle onto it, but Paulu's going to be able to see just exactly what has been hacked here. All those electronics will start to flash up. Turd, he's going to be the next player to try and move through. Asfi going to look to try and get this plant down, but that was an engagement that Turd needed to win. With Paulu getting that kill, Asfi, he's going to be getting the plant down. Paulu was too preoccupied to jump into the solar scanner, but it's likely not going to matter. Mentalist, he's got so much work to do here, and Maya is already on that disable. Downed on the hop through, and nothing he can do.
Just couldn't lock down Paulu. I mean, Paulu, great heads-up initiative, thinking, oh, they're not actually holding this. I can just run straight through and just upset the apple cart. Great play from him. A very strange round, it has to be said. Very chaotic. It's like one of those, seesaws just going back and forth, back and forth. Nobody really looking as though they can cement that win until Paulu says, don't worry, fellas, I'll do it for you. I've got this round on lock. But yeah, Bleed, I think, great work being able to pick off all those bits of utility, realizing that, hey, we can hit the site. One thing that actually really hindered Bleed a lot of the time there was those double reinforcements on the trophy wall. That usually doesn't happen. Those two walls are usually left soft. But actually having them reinforced works out really well for the Legion in that scenario, because then it's very difficult to kill him. If you still have upstairs control, if you still have the hatch, he's in quite a safe position. He can't really get killed apart from just the door, which did happen to him. It's just sad that he didn't have anyone covering from above.
Round number 6, we go to the top floor. Liquid's final stand here on their defensive half. Of course, provided we don't go into an overtime. Bleed, we're going to need to find some success here. A salvage of a 3-3 split. It'd be... Well, it's the best thing that they can come away with at this point, but you would expect a little bit more. Ness going to be going for a cheeky spawn peek here. Is he going to find it? No! Reaps hits him with the reverse, the DMR headshot. Reaps was ready for that one.
One does not simply spawn peek Reaps.
I mean, one does not simply counter spawn peek Ness. It's still not an easy thing to do, is it?
Oh, it's great to see. Reaps. Much better game from him compared to Cafe, where he was a little bit shaky on the first half, but certainly this half on Shally has been leading his team on the front foot. Lagonis on the Echo as well, seeing if he can assist these roamers, and Liquid they've been really consistent with the roam game they've tried to establish all across the map. They're really not afraid to really push the boundaries of Bleed. I will say Liquid sometimes they can maybe spread themselves a little bit too thin, where they can get picked off one by one with not really being together and being able to play that trade game that they can do oh so well, is what they've shown us on Cafe. But still, they just make it very difficult for Bleed. Love this angle from Resets. Oh, luckily though for Reaps, he does think against going for the jump in. Hoven using the Candelas, and right now it's just the fight for Solar.
We've got a bit of information there as to Resets his position, but can still board himself up with another Kiba barrier. He's got one in pocket here. Got Turd just hanging around at the bottom of Blue Stairs as well. These are players that really need to be dealt with at this point. Look at the time demo. It is dwindling away. We've got an opening kill, which is great for Bleed, but they've not really used it just as of yet. Reaps is going to try and make something happen there from the balcony, but it's a very dangerous position for him to be.
Maya still unchecked downstairs, but does he know about the lurker that is Turd? This is the role that he plays. Mentalist, though, beats him to it, has the coverage on that main door, but I think Turd would have killed him nonetheless. And again, it's just pick after pick for Bleed. Liquid, nothing to show in this round so far. Lagonis now on the Echo, maybe thinking about getting aggressive on that breach. Resets is beside him on that shield, and a zombie combination, just trying to lock down that side of the map. Here comes Turd now. He really does pick his moments, Turd. You really won't see Turd be active until kind of the last 40 seconds. That's his role.
Turd going to go for a bit of a slower peek there onto the Azami, but resets will fall. Lagonis picks one. He's going to have to grab a couple more, though, if he wants to try and keep his team in it, but Turd's on a tear. Grabs himself a second. Palu on the flank, as we've seen him so many times. 20 seconds left to go. He picks up two, but it's not enough. A triple for Turd there, and Bleed, they level things up.
Yeah, there's one thing you'll find about Turd. It's either he has the massive impact in the round, or he's stuck in the 1v4 baiting his team. That is how Turd functions. That is it. That is his role. That's the role he chooses to play. It's not a consistent role, because you always can't say that I'm always going to get a triple kill every round. I'm going to sneak in through the back. You can't say that's always going to work. It is a massive risk role that he plays. But if it does work, then you're walking away thinking, wow, that was easy.
Round number 7, as we get into it, we've got a couple of replays to go through first. We can get to see the Turd highlights right now. We get to see the kill onto Lagonis live, but we get it here in all of its glory. Bleed, up for the fight here. Good little momentum boost at the switch of the half as well. Round number 7, we're going to be going to Bar and Games. Kind of surprised with how little we saw Team Liquid playing downstairs in the basement. We really didn't see that site all too often, but I think Chalet is one of those maps where a lot of the sites are pretty favorable.
Yeah.
5 seconds to go.
It's, just take your pick. I think they are all good. Look, I think every bomb site in this map can be defended. It can be. I know probably downstairs is your more difficult one in terms of actually trying to stop the plant go down. Looking now at our Bar and Games, I love the setup that Bleed are bringing. Some very strong operators. You see the Mira, you see the Azami combination. One reason why I think you really need the Mira for this site just in general is just to give that player and connector a bit of breathing space. Usually teams will set up with a lot of guys upstairs and then one guy in the site, and it will usually be a person inside a connector. Without having that Mira window there, I always think connector's a little bit of a difficult position because you always kind of have to watch your corners. You have to kind of flick through 2 different doorways and a double window at all times. You just sit safely behind the Mira window. It does that kind of job for you. So I do like that you bring in the Mira window. And also we've seen plenty of times, you know, final 30, 20 seconds, Mira window still up, a guy in behind connector, wins that all day of the week.
Absolutely, and again, it's something else to try and solve. Reaps.
Timing.
He is going to take Nesk down there. Poor old Nesk.
He smiled as he killed him. He's a lunatic. He's smiling, killing Nesk.
Poor old Nesk is having an awful time here on Charlie. He's 1-6 right now. Died in every single round, bar 1.
Shall I get his face chiseled off the mountain?
Well, I mean, it's an honorary position on the Mount Rushmore, isn't it? But it's not looking good. Maybe growing a little bit of moss.
Oh dear. We don't want to see mossy plays. Liquid, man down. How will you succumb with the pressure that is going to be applied by all of this utility that Bleed still have? You have the shields, you have the barriers from the Azami. I mean, this one specifically is very dangerous to deal with. You know, Hoven can really tuck himself in behind that fireplace and just use that cover, just swing for all he's worth. Reset maybe looking to go below and perhaps on a bit of a backstab and could try and walk up lobby to eliminate Reaps. Down goes Astley though from Maya. I think he just caught him as he was trying to cross in through in towards Library. And speaking of resets, he has pushed up all the way in through the lobby stairs, but not before Hoven has found one on Demaya. Still a 3 versus 3. Reaps, where's he went? I thought he was over towards Blue. No, he's actually retreated back into the bomb site. So they've just said, you know what, just give Liquid upstairs.
Got Turdster below as well, so he's got an option of a couple of different rotates that he can really try and make it. Just needs to be cautious that he doesn't leave his team out high and dry. Reaps, he might do all the job for his team in this round, though, as he grabs another over onto Palu. Lagonis left with a decision. Do you drop the hatch or do you walk down the stairs? Resets, tries to push through, telegraphs his location as the Wamai magnet goes off there. And with Turdster on the lower part of these blue stairs, it's going to be incredibly difficult. Lagonis is the first to fall, and the second picked up as well.
Oh,
2
big.
monster rounds from Turdster.
Big, big, big from Turd. Massive reaction as well from Julio. He really liked that one. You know, Julio coming over into the APAC region, a massive, you know, transfer. We really didn't expect that one to happen, but he's done great work from Bleed every single tournament. Bleed just looked better and better and better the more we watched them. And this is, you know, This is the chance now, isn't it, for Bleed to really make an upset? What
my
a shot for Reap.
goodness.
I mean, at one time, Nesk was actually watching that window for just a little bit, and then as soon as he looks away, dead.
It's the fact that we flip back onto the player, can't we get the live reaction? And he said he was laughing.
He's laughing.
Genuinely grinning ear to ear. In Siege, you get those moments, you get those times where you just put a couple of bullets into a barricade and you get lucky, it pops up on the right-hand side of the screen if you've got the kill feed open, or you get that little notification on the crosshairs that you've just done some damage or got a kill, and it just feels so, so good.
Basement time.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Very strange to actually see them go for the basement. I really thought they were going to go for the kitchen and dining. I just think Bleed is a team where they can roam, I think, a lot more aggressively. I think it'll give more options for Turd to kind of go for those flanks and those lurks. Because I always feel for the basement, you don't really have to do a lot from an attacker perspective. You kind of have to maybe clear players if they're above in towards kitchen and dining, and that's really it. Everything else can just be pushed in from that trench side, and there isn't a lot of flank options from the trench side of things.
Oh dear, Lagonis. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Not a good start.
I mean, it's just too hasty. We don't need to be that quick. We've got an IQ. We've got a lot of things.
This is actually very bad because they only have the one hard breach. That's it.
They've not even got tin openers.
They have nothing.
That could be round defining in the first 20 seconds.
Yeah.
You just get bandit tricked, you lose an exothermic, and now you're thinking, we need to do a lot now to make sure that this second exothermic goes off for a start. And then the other question is, where the heck do we use it?
You have three options. You can either go again for that main wall, which has just been bandit tricked. You can go for the long wall, or you go for trench wall. You need at least, honestly, you need at least 2 out of the 3. 3 out of 3 is usually the norm. We don't really see teams struggle with getting the walls open these days, but it's happened for Liquid, and at this level of competition, it will cost you. And there's still this roam game. You know, there's still roamers on the prowl right now for Bleed, and they have no idea about that. Did he not just shoot a drone?
I'm pretty sure that Hoven just shot a drone at his feet at the top of Solar, and then we've got Resets hopping up onto Master Bed. Neski's taking some damage here as well. The job's done for Bleed. If they retreat back to the site, they are going to be in a really good position.
Oh,
they're going to get aggressive,
my.
and Reeves is going to shut him down again. Nest can't catch a break today. That's the second round in a row we've seen Reeves absolutely destroy him.
Oh my God, Reeps. And he wants more. Paulie was going to give him it, though.
Reloading.
We'll eliminate Reeps and at least get 1 kill back. But look at Turd. He's just sitting in a corner. There's a guy right in front of him over towards dining. Turd isn't moving. Turd's waiting for him to come towards him. It's going to be Lagonis on the Thermite, and Turd. Oh my God. Turd, get out of the game. You are done. You are Lagonis has just, oh, the pistol. What?
3-3, 40 seconds left. Still with an exothermic in pocket. This is now somewhat doable for the side of Liquid. Turd's kind of sold a little bit there. There's no bandit batteries in Mentalist pockets. They're all placed down, and that wall's getting opened like it or not. Hoven is going to be immediately on the other side of it, and he's not even going to move. Grabs one onto Lagonis, goes for a swing for a second, leaves his teammate in a 1 versus 2. Now the shotgun comes through, but it's Paulie all day!
You are not supposed to win that round, Liquid! You're not supposed to! And then we've got... Guys, we have got all chat kicking off right now. I cannot put into words how much of a throwable round we have just witnessed. That might be the biggest thrown round I've seen at this tournament. Bleed get the bandit trick right from the get-go. They have 1 thermite charge left, which is usually just... What are you going to do? You can't open up everything, and you need everything open for that site. Reeps is hitting incredible shots onto everyone.
It was this, Hoven.
You think, you know, Hoven, oh, how's he got that kill? The drone's not there.
That shot from Reeps was disgusting.
Mr. Turd,
That was the
Turd, we
engagement.
need to have a discussion.
That was the engagement.
We need to have a chat. How does Turd bottle that?
Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, our wonderful observer has kept the all chat open so that you can see just exactly what was said during the prep phase there and the end of that previous round. Palut called Turster a bot, and I think it is maybe warranted in that instance. A bit of a round that I think, you know, Liquid knew that they were in trouble there. They knew that that was going to be a real difficult round to pull over. When you need a difficult round pulling out of the bag, who do you draw to if you Lost Nest, he drove someone like Palu, and he really made it happen. He got 3 incredibly important kills there. But the rest of his team rallied, and if Lagonis loses that engagement upstairs, it probably goes to bleed. 4-4, all level, round 9 coming up right now. See who takes a lead and who gets a chance to put themselves onto that 6th round and have a chance at closing out this map.
Here we go again. Bleed. On the defense. A new bomb site, though. It is the kitchen and dining, which is where I thought they were going to go. I didn't think they were going to go for the basement, but after what's just happened at the basement, you want to stay away from that as quickly as you can. And they will, of course, be trying to hold on to that top floor as expected. You can see, actually, Liquid have actually went for a sweep from the bottom up, so they're actually getting in through the basement, and they're just slowly doing all of the drone work and just making sure that they can sweep that part of the map. Whenever you're against the side like Bleed, who will have lurkers towards the basement, I think it's a great idea just to go from bottom up.
Yeah. When you've got Turd, you know that he's going to be in a rat corner somewhere. You may as well try and find him, so if they have the time in the round to do it, then they ought to use it. Gooman is going to get hit there by Recess. Nesk and him are going to be in a fairly good spot here at the top of Fireplace. Lagonis, you can start to open that wall. No danger of a trip this time, as the wall is going to get opened nicely without a hitch.
And the second as well. So good start for Liquid. You've opened up the main ways in to hold above and also into the site. Of course, Reaps has been flashed out. That has forced them back. So nobody's going to be in a position to hold the vertical angle, so Lagonis could just walk in and try and go for the plant as long as the coverage is there from the rest of his team. Reaps now drops down and drops almost into an open breach. Luckily, nobody from Liquid is there holding that. Resets with the Dokumi call, and I think Liquid now, they're going to try and look for their pinch.
Well, Nesk needs to win this engagement upstairs. He's thrown all of his Candelas through now, and I don't think that they're going to be effective. Hoven, he manages to dodge out of it in that instance. There is going to be a player pushing him on. Ivy, he gets a glimpse before he goes down, but he needs to try and win this engagement. Full wide, nothing he can do. 2 kills come in there, make it 3. Nesk picks himself up, a nice 2. 3 versus 3 now. Mentalist inside of Trophy. Lagonis still dishing out the pain with the diffuser in his hand. Can maybe look to try and make a rotation, but he's going all the way through the bottom of the map there.
Do they know about Reaps, though? Look at the position that Reaps is in. Just in the middle of Dining, and he's going to be standing right in front of the open breach, so it's an easy kill for Lagonis. Mentalist has taken up the same position. He will down onto Polu. Diffuser going down, all down to Mentalist to see if he can try and pick this round up, but Nesk is better this round with that LMG, and Liquid, oh, they are so ready now, Ollie, to take this series.
That is a must-win engagement for Nesk, and for a player that only had 1 kill coming into this round, he has picked up 2 incredibly important kills there, essentially winning the round for Liquid. I was really worried when we saw Lagonis going for a full rotate in the basement because he needed to get from A to B. He was stuck on the wrong side and he didn't have a better way of transitioning through the map. The time was running so low.
It was actually an incredible rotate. You think about the kill that he'd got before he killed the guy just standing and dining, it was a kill coming in from West Main. If that guy's West Main, Reaps will then think, oh, I can now play in dining. They've actually left lobby. They're not playing that breach. But because that long rotate, he's not expecting a man just to appear out of nowhere and just shoot him in the back of the head. So I think a great rotate from Lagonis, who, honestly, Lagonis, the chain of events he has set off by just getting that 1 pistol kill, wow.
It's the beat of a butterfly's wings that starts a hurricane.
That's the miss mag of Turd that causes this one.
Well, we have seen a tactical timeout there from Bleed.
Rotate.
That was the engagement there from Ness. You can see.
Look at Lagonis, man. Headset's nearly coming off.
I said Liquid looked fired up. Liquid looked up for the match here today. They looked like that over on Cafe, and they are looking like that even more as every round trots on by. 5 rounds to 4. Tactical timeout just used for Bleed. It wasn't good for a round over on Cafe. The timeout was unsuccessful. They weren't able to adjust. They weren't able to adapt. They're on the defense here. It is a little bit different. It's obviously different to Cafe, and they have seen some success already here. They've lost a round due to somebody making a mistake. It happens. Losing a gunfight, and that was the ultimate reason for the round loss. They've then just lost that previous round. Liquid played it exceptionally well. They're not a million miles off the pace here. We could be sat at quite easily a 5-4 Bleed scoreline right now.
That's the way it goes. Siege, fine margins is how we always try and define it with what can happen inside of the game. Liquid have to attack onto a bomb site that they previously had lost. Bleed had a great time here the last time. They were over in the bar and games room. Setup doesn't look as though it's changed. Same operators, same positions they're playing. So it's up to Liquid to see how they can adapt. In terms of utility that they have, I like the addition of, obviously, the floors being brought in to deal with the Azami barriers. Azami upstairs inside of Library and towards Fireplace can be a real nuisance, and also that shield towards Blue, speaking of which, is going to be eliminated very early on. Nobody watching that window for it coming in, but Reaps, though, that's fine. You can take the shield. We'll take a kill.
Reaps has been devastating on this opening pick. Seems like he's got some sort of speed buff at the moment on the Wamai. He's just moving slippy. Always going to be difficult to try and pin a player down like that. And there's still a nice little triangle being played up here as well. We've got Asfi playing deep inside of Library. Going to play for the C4, try and drop the hatch and blow it. Somehow manages to stay alive. Lagonis can send another fireball in there, but there's nobody home.
Yeah, again, fine right now. If you're Liquid, you've been able to clear out the player from that position. Sure, you didn't get the kill, but the only thing is you just wanted to get players out of that top floor, and they've done that successfully. Minute 20 to go. You still have a player towards, I think, is it Fireplace or Small Box? One of the two, whatever one's he in. Looks a bit, oh, kind of both, because he's got kind of that rotate. He has blocked up one side of it, so Hoven just trying to play off these Azami barriers. Reaps is also trying to assist, but here comes Resets in through that double window. Is he looking for the blue player first? It looks as though he is, and he will try and go and push for the kill onto Reaps, but no, it seems to be Maya's been picked off before that. Reset's missing more shots, but a jump in from Ness will secure the trade, so it's going to be kills on both fronts into a 3 versus 3 now.
You look at Mentalist position and the value of that grows by the second right now. Turd is going to be playing downstairs in Snowmobile. Two options of rotation. He can either go up main stairs or he can rotate and go up blue. Just needs to find out where exactly Liquid are going to push from. They're likely going to send one to each, but they're conscious of it, Demo. They know that there's somebody down below, and they've got some lines to try and watch that. We're going to jump over, get ourselves onto the door that leads into bar now. Still, there is that unknown factor of Turdster, but Liquid are very concerned about it. Turd's going to get himself wrapped in an engagement, but doesn't push for it. Lagonis wins the one onto Mentalist. That's huge. It frees up stock, and now Turd has rotated up that blue stairs. Lagonis hits a team kill. Not an ideal time, but 2 versus 1. No time left. Nesk has to try and cover this plant, as we've seen him do already. Turdster, he's rotating round. Is he going to get the line on Nesk? Is he going to get the line on Resets? No, the plant will be confirmed here. Now in a 1 versus 2, and Lagonis hits it. Planting a kill there to tie things up. Liquid, they're on a match and series point right now.
Oh, Lagonis, the smokes that cut across that rotate that Turd was trying to go for up through blue stairs. We've seen that they knew that Turd was downstairs. Nesk obviously goes for the engagement. It then forces somebody else from site to try and swing. I believe it was the guy in Connector, the Cade. He then loses his gunfight. 2 versus 3. They know there's only one staircase Turd can go, and that's going to be up blue. Capital bolts across the corridor. Turd can't do anything with that rotate. That rotate is completely dead. Bomb access then in favor of Liquid. They get that diffuser. Lagonis TK's resets in the middle of it as well, but still, Lagonis, he makes up for it. I mean, this guy gets 1 pistol kill and he's been man of the match.
Well, that's it. It started, hasn't it? It was the small drops that start the waterfall. You've got Lagonis, he's 10-7 now. It's a great scoreline, especially for a support player, but it all comes down to the morale and the energy that 1 pistol kill gave his team.
Honestly, this tournament for Lagonis, he's going to get a documentary series, you know, from where he was to where he is now. Honestly, it's the next heartwarming story, guys, coming to your screen soon. My, oh my. But 6-4 for Liquid. Bleed, just looking out of it. They really are. Asfi and Mentalist, 4 kills between them. Reaps has tried his best, Ollie. You know, he's dominated that opening kill stat line, but I think for Bleed, throughout this series, it's been converting those advantages.
It hasn't. I don't think that Bleed has been very good at taking the advantage when it has been there and when it's been presented, or even when they've manufactured the position that has given them the advantage. Downstairs we go. Obviously, the round that should have been from a Bleed perspective, and the round that Liquid really clutched out of the jaws of defeat. We've not seen the same mistake. I mean, Lagonish, can you say he made a mistake? He made a mistake, and he also made a huge play. The mistake he made was wasting the exothermic and getting bandit tricked. That hasn't happened this time. He's still got both in pocket. There is still a roam here from Bleed that is to be dealt with, so it isn't a foregone conclusion here.
No, and I think Liquid will take their time to hunt these roamers. You can see Maya straight in through the solar window. It is always risky playing your Hibana as the kind of entry role, considering the role Hibana plays, which is that more support-orientated position. You want to try and keep those X-Kairos pellets, and there you go. You lose the Hibana. You're back down just the one hard breach on Lagonis. Reaps, again, another opening pick for him.
Reaps has been devastating. He is a serious contender for keeping Bleed in this thing. Double positive, 14 and 7 at the moment. And it's not just that he gets the opening pick, he very rarely gets traded off the back of it either. He gets it and then gets himself out of there, and he'll be over the other side of the map in only a few seconds. I like Hoven's positioning here. If he's not known on the drone, it does seem like there's a drone from Palu just to his left there, so there's a chance that he has been exposed, but if he can maintain that position for a little bit of time, he might see some success. The Liquid players are sort of spiraling him, circling around him up there right now.
Yeah, you've got resets on the hatch. I think Liquid just want to try and go for the default plan in towards the trench wall. Lagonis will first need to open up the wall, and he will get himself in and do that. No bandits to worry about, no Cades to worry about. But there's still two roamers above. Obviously, we've seen Hoven inside of lobby, but you still have Turd all the way on the top floor. Nesk looking to see if he can get the gridlocks in to clear away the pillar side of things. Asfi still in the thick of it, and oh no, Hoven has exposed his hand and Palu's straight in.
That's a great pick there from Palu. The fire is going to slow him down a little bit, but Resets picks one up onto Turd. Palu is Terminating through sight, picks himself one before being traded. Reaps on for two. He needs to go massive here if he's going to try and keep his team in this thing. It's all down to Reaps. It'll be an ace clutch if he makes it happen, but Nesk is there. The blank was going down from Lagonis. Nesk picks up the final kill. Liquid, they made the stage for the first time since Copenhagen.
Congratulations, the Liquid. They will be back on Friday in front of the crowd. Commiserations to Bleed. Same thing happened to them again. They go 2-0 up, and they just can't make it to main stage.
Your heart's going to go out for Bleed here, of course. They are out of the competition now. They've gone up against a Team Liquid there that I believe looked a lot better than yesterday. I watched the Liquid Scars game yesterday, and it wasn't that great from a Liquid point of view. It was very scrappy. This was much more convincing from Liquid here today.
Yeah, people stepped up, people get their kills. I like the opportunity spot, and look at that from Palu there, for example. That's one thing that I have to give credit to Liquid over the course of the year. I think they've really stepped up in terms of understanding the meta. I think back in Copenhagen, and obviously what we've seen throughout recently, you think about the other stages that they've played in, it was just very old Siege. It was very slow.
Yeah.
Whereas now they've really picked up the pace. Neska's opportunity spotting, Paulu's opportunity spotting. They're seeing these gaps the same way that your phases do, same way that your Furias do, and they make things happen from that.
We've got an interview with Palu ready. I would like to throw a question into the mix, if I may. How do you win a map only getting the opening pick in 2 rounds? What a performance there from Bleed, but what a performance from Liquid. Take it away.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm here with the one and only Palu, closing it out. What does it mean for you to now make a major after such a long time making a main stage? What does it feel?
It feels really good. We are on a great mood right now. Like, we are just like feeling it, and we are ready.
No, you guys are looking on point. I mean, you guys have literally had to claw your way all the way to this point. No game was really that easy. Well, maybe something was a little easy yesterday. A little bit. But what's it going to be like going to main stage now? What's the focus?
I think there is a little things that we need to fix, but like I think we developed a lot during the matches we were playing. We learned a lot. Actually playing other teams from other regions. We did the boot camp that helped us a lot, and right now we are going to just finish some points that we needed to get better. But yeah, I think we are really ready for the stage.
No, definitely. Well, I got one more question for you. What has been the biggest improvement that you have made individually going throughout this phase? Or all these phases, I should say.
It's hard to say just one thing, but The major, I think it's like courage, you know? Like everyone, I think, grow a lot through the matches, and everyone believes in everyone. Like, doesn't matter, like, you have to vault 5 jump 1 window. We're gonna do it, you know? And we believe in each other, and that's it, you know?
And now, is there anything that you want to say to your fans out there, family members, anything like that before I let you go?
Yeah, of course. Like, I want to thank everyone that cheer for us, that believe in us. Of course, we have some bad moments, but I think we are growing every match, every round. We are learning stuff, and we are getting better. And I think we are facing Furia, right? We want to face them a lot, and that's it. See you guys.
All right, sounds good. Here, give me one more. All right, congratulations, obviously, to Liquid. I'm going to send it over to you guys. I'm going to send it over to Jack, actually. He has a wonderful telestrator for you. Tune in.
Thank you very much, Laxing. Now, it might be a wonderful telestrator if you're a Team Liquid fan. It's going to be a terrible telestrator if you are a Bleed fan. Now, what I want to focus on is Liquid won a lot of 3v5s in this game, and I'm going to highlight this as winning a 3v5 rather than Bleed throwing a 3v versus 5. You can see here I'm showing down in Chalet on the basement, and that's just what I wanted to show you now. This is a 5 versus 3 for Bleed, and I just need to highlight 5 versus 3. The round is won. But is it? Because Bleed, they decide they want to do a little trolling out on the Chalet basement. What we're going to see is the Roamers are going to try and get themselves back to site. The Kiva barrier comes in to highlight Palu. And what these 2 players here should be doing, the 2 Bleed players, they should be trying to use this Kiva barrier to get back to site. What do they actually do? They try and fight. They want to fight onto Palu. I've just done a very big circle there. They want to fight, and it costs Reaps his life. So this is such a high-risk play for such low reward. And actually what happens, Reaps loses his life. It's a 4 versus 3. Now, focus on Lagonis. He's on the Thermite. Tries to look away now because, buddy, he's just pistol whipped you. He didn't know you was there. It is now a 3 versus 3. Tad didn't need to stay there. He could have just chilled, got himself back to site. And then this one is maybe the most criminal. Obviously, because Lagonis was alive on the Thermite, he can go and he can breach the wall over on the right-hand side here. And what Bleed don't do with only 29 seconds on the clock, they don't pop their Goyo canister, which is their win condition, which is their redundancy for this. They allow Liquid to play a 3 versus 3. They've just got to force into sight. Hoven gets a kill. He runs into the breach and he dies as well. Gives the man advantage back. And there was so many of these situations where, yes, Liquid won it, but Bleed absolutely threw it as well. They're going to be kicking themselves. So, yeah, congratulations to Team Liquid, but for Bleed, you've really got to work on this, buddy. Right, going to send this over back to a break, and after that, we'll have the final game of the day.